Alert weather.
Well, dew points across the area are quite low so far this morning here, but we are looking at conditions in Concordia being definitely still on that cooler side, with the temperatures somewhere in that 60s range. We're having trouble with the data on that particular station, but we can see that from looking at our Topeka spot here on the national temperature map, where we also can see just how much these temperatures are standing out all across the Midwest here and even further out towards the west coast of the United States. A lot of green, a very high amount of green here for early to middle August, when we are pretty much usually seeing the hottest temperatures of the year around this time in many parts of the country, but 60, even the 50s as we look up towards the border there with Canada for the moment. Highs in Topeka only going to be reaching the middle 70s by later this afternoon. Certainly warmer than yesterday, where we only had highs of around 71 here in the capital city. That actually set a record for the coldest high temperature, or lowest high temperature, for that date on August the 9th. It broke a record set back in the 60s of 72. So by just 1 degree we got that. Doesn't look like we'll be quite to that same degree of chilliness today, but still going to be quite a bit below average there in that middle 70s range, almost 15 degrees below the average high of around 90 for this time of year. Live storm tracker showing a little bit of rain this morning. We had a lot of rain in this part of the state just to the west all throughout yesterday. That didn't really manage to make its way through here to northeast Kansas, but we are seeing a little bit of that seep in so far this morning, namely for areas south of Interstate 70. If we're north of there, I think things are going to be dry all throughout the day, but widespread rain chances. Significant rainfall, measurable rainfall will return here for Sunday night and then probably last through at least Monday or Tuesday afternoon here, with those chances, as you can see, between that 60 and 80% range. So some scattered showers and thunderstorms at that time. Usually we see that when temperatures are expected to drop a little further, but it will be the opposite this time, where we see the high temperatures climb into the 80s by the time rain chances become more prevalent, and then we should be in the lower 90s here by Wednesday, back to that average range for this time of year. Still not too terribly hot for what we'd expect in middle August, but we are looking at the supercast for many of these days, not really featuring all that much of a feels like or higher humidity conditions. Monday evening, where we should have temperatures in the middle to upper 80s, it's going to be feeling like the lower to middle 90s with some rain there. I think that's about as bad as it'll get, though, because once we're in the 90s, things are drier, not as much humidity in the air. 74 for today. Early morning showers will lead to a partly sunny, maybe some of us see mostly cloudy skies. 64 tonight, a little bit warmer overall, calm conditions once more, and then the next couple of days will show us warming back up here. More rain chances next week.